or One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot Media. A member of Parliament in the United Kingdom is upset this evening with the Jamaican government's decision to reject the prison deal with his country. Under the proposal, Jamaica would get £25 million to build a new prison if Jamaicans convicted in the UK could finish their sentences in Jamaica. But Philip Hollowbone has blasted the Jamaican government in an article in the Sun newspaper. We have the details from TVJ's Andrea Chisholm.
What has been offered has not been accepted.
And that rejection has not gone down well with UK MP Philip Hollowbone, who labelled the reaction from the Jamaican government as a complete disgrace. And if it doesn't want to accept the prisoners, then the Jamaican government should be sent the bill for their incarceration. The UK spends about £10 million annually to care for Jamaican prisoners. Cost too was a factor for the Jamaican government in rejecting the offer. £25 million to build the prison was not enough.
Jamaica would still have to find 60%, which is about $6 billion Jamaican dollars.
The transfer of hundreds of prisoners to Jamaica also weighed heavily on the decision to reject the offer. In moving forward, Mr. Hollowbone suggested to the Sun newspaper that the Jamaican High Commissioner to the UK be called in. That way they could discuss some other solution to deport convicted Jamaicans who are taking up space in UK prisons. Recent figures suggest there are almost 600 Jamaicans in British jails, with many convictions related to drugs and violence. In the meantime, a UK government spokesperson told the Sun newspaper that the decision of the Jamaican government was respected and the talks would continue. The spokesperson added that Jamaica and the UK are committed to excellent bilateral relationships. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
An attorney at law is this evening suggesting that the government could be faced with a lawsuit in light of the noxious fumes affecting workers at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Another attorney has also added his voice to the list of persons urging the government to consider closing the hospital in St. James until air quality problems are addressed. TVJ Shamela Mitchell has the views expressed on RGR's That's a Wrap program this afternoon.
Last week, it was disclosed that one senior medical technologist at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James resigned after being affected by noxious fumes detected on several floors of the facility. Now, attorney at law Nicole Gordon says workers who have to quit because of the adverse working conditions may have a legal claim on the government.
Because the employee, of course, at that time, is saying that you have effectively dismissed me, and there are certain obligations on the employer as far as that is concerned. Of course, there is this other matter which is extremely important, of the duty of care, which is well established in law.
Ms. Gordon adds that the government has a common law responsibility to provide a safe space for employees to work. She warns the government to be careful.
I think I read that Minister Tufton had made this statement that the particulates are not life-threatening. They might be annoying or irritating. There might be an irritant, but they're not life-threatening, so they still can function. But I would have to say, with respect, that's not where the bar is. Right? Certainly not from a legal perspective. It's not about whether or not it's life-threatening. It is about whether or not they have fulfilled their responsibility to protect their employees.
Meanwhile, since there is no immediate solution to the problem, attorney at law Ian Wilkinson was asked whether or not the hospital should be closed.
It might very well be the right decision to do, especially if these noxious fumes are emanating and you don't know the source. It might very well be that you have to quarantine, seclude people, put them in a safe place until such time as you can ascertain what is happening. What if the damage being done is likely to be greater than one thinks? The long-term effect might be serious. So it might be a counsel of prudence for the relevant authorities to say, until such time as we are fully au fait or aware with what is happening, let us take the precautionary steps and protect our people.
Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
For the third time in as many weeks, motorists traveling along the Mandela Highway in St. Catherine will be severely inconvenienced due to a broken NWC pipeline. Ongoing work is being done in the area to expand the Mandela Highway. We're now joined by Communications Manager of the NWA, Stephen Shaw, to give us an update. Good evening to you, Mr. Shaw.
Hi, good evening.
Mr. Shaw, it's the same 18-inch water main that has been broken. Why do we have these constant disruptions, sir?
Well, as you read, the area continues to be a work zone, and the type of work that is being done lends itself to the possibility of the water main being broken. And so we have been working with the Water Commission on a plan for the distribution of water through along the Mandela Highway. What happened today was that one piece of the equipment that's working there, it was digging a hole, and in the process, the pipe was broken.
Okay, will repair works begin tonight?
Well, we have been in touch with the Commission, and they have decided to turn off the water, and that will allow time between this evening and tomorrow for the water to recede, and thereafter the disrupted area should be repaired. Importantly, though, is that two lanes, the carriageway that's carrying traffic from the direction of Spanish Town towards the city, the two lanes are open, so there isn't an impact outside of water. And so because there's some amount of water on the carriageway, persons tend to slow, and this is what is causing some amount of traffic along the Mandela at this time.
And finally, sir, what are the plans that will be put in place to ensure that there's a smooth flow of traffic for tomorrow morning?
Well, the first thing is that the Water Commission has decommissioned that particular line. So by tomorrow morning, we expect that there will be no water in that area. And so persons should be able to move along that section of the Mandela in the same way that they would have been accustomed to before 3 or 4 o'clock today when the disruption took place.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Shaw. That's Stephen Shaw's Communications Manager at the NWA.
Coming up in Primetime Sports Sunday, Jamaica's under-17s avoid defeat for the first time in 5 friendlies. And the Stingrays score impressive win in first match of inaugural parish netball competition. Good evening, I'm Ricardo Chambers. We'll have the details after this break. Welcome back to Primetime Sports Sunday. Now, with Jamaica's only hopes of qualifying for a World Cup resting on their shoulders, the under-17s continued their preparation for the final round of CONCACAF qualification with a 1-0 draw against their Cuban counterparts at Winchester Park today.
The young Reggae Boys were searching for a morale boost after letting in 13 goals in their 4 previous friendlies against the United States and Canada. The Andrew Edwards coached team created a plethora of chances early but could not capitalize due to faulty shooting and a lack of composure in front of goal. The Cubans made the Jamaican pay for their inept performance up front 8 minutes into the second half, when goalkeeper Daniel Russell's misjudgment resulted in a penalty kick for the visitors. Ribaldo Rodero duly obliged from the spot. The hosts would eventually find reason to celebrate 20 minutes from time when substitute Ricardo McIntosh raced through on goal to level proceedings. Despite the result, coach Andrew Edwards lamented his team's lack of quality in front of goal.
But that being said, we created 9 chances in the first period and we put away 0 chances, and that is a major factor for concern, because it doesn't matter how good the opponents are. If you are creating chances and you put away your chances, then you increase your own confidence and you put pressure on them. And I thought that our decision making, particularly one situation with Raywin Senior, another one with Trayvon Reed, and then again with Nicky Daly, the decision making was just not at the level that we expected to be to take us to a World Cup berth.
However, the Cubans were far less critical of their performance.
Yeah, he believes the game was one that both teams had control of the ball at different intervals. They both got chances at goal, so he thinks the 1-1 score is a good score line for both teams.
Of 2 friendlies on Tuesday. Jordan Fort, TVJ Sports.
And Humberline climbed to second and are now a point behind leaders UWI in the Red Stripe Premier League after both teams registered wins today.
The Donovan Duque team stretched their unbeaten run to 6 games with a polished 2-0 win over 7th place Reno at the Effortville Community Centre. Humberline started off on the front foot with a wave of attacks, and it came as no surprise when former national striker Devon Hodges tucked away from 6 yards out after a goal melee in the 38th minute. Francois Swebe extended the hosts' lead 5 minutes after the break with a beautifully finished header from inside the area. The win sees Humberline move to 45 points, a point behind the UWI, and condemned Reno to a 3rd defeat in 5 games.
Kadeen did exceptionally well, and 2 crucial moments. That was the difference between the result today. I thought had Reno gone ahead, it would have been a different game. It would have been different when we were chasing the game. We would have been making too much unforced error. I thought we were very comfortable in possession. Even in the latter stage of the game, you saw where we made some tactical changes also. We kind of tweaked the system from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-4-2, so we wanted more possession in the end. And I was also pleased with that, how we managed the game today.
Well, we must say kudos to the Humberline's team. I think they fought well. I think overall, I think they made the goalkeeper make 2 brilliant saves. I think that made a difference in the goal. Had we scored one of those opportunities, that would have brought us back in the game once ever. It's a tough game that we conceded. I would consider probably 2 soft goals, from 2 free kicks outside the area. Again, we need to be more alert in terms of our defensive network, so we suffer the consequences. Well, we just have to rebound now. We have another assignment against Harborview. Our intention is going to that game very positive and get 3 points.
UWI continued to lead the way as Anthony Greenland's 39th minute strike was good enough to give them a 1-0 win over struggling Jamaica, who have now slumped to 11th in the table.
The most important thing today was to get the win and see what comes of it.
Marvalio and then leapfrogged Jamaica into 10th after holding 5th place to Portmore United to a goalless draw at the Prison Oval in Spanish Town in the day's late fixture. Arnett Gardens and Waterhouse are locked at 0-0 at Drewsland. Harborview will host bottom-placed Boys Town in the Monday night fixture, while the Montego Bay United versus Tivoli Gardens fixture has been postponed due to Mobay's participation in the CFU Club Championship.